Happy New Year's Eve to you. If you're watching this and you're still on the side of the world where it's not yet the new year, then you caught me in time. And in this video, I'm just going to chat with you and reminisce about what my year has been like and some of the lessons I've learned and what I'm going into 2026 thinking and planning to do. So if that is your jam, you're welcome to join the party. I, of course, haven't scripted this video, going on with my one video a day for a year. But I do have some rough talking notes that I want to go through. So let's jump into it, right? I want to say that 2025 has been that year that has been both stressful but eventful. It has also been the year where I've learned to trust God the most. So I started out this year just thinking that it was going to be a beautiful year. And it has been in a lot of ways, but not the ways that I thought it was going to be. I thought this was the year where I was going to finally just cruise my way to the bank. And it didn't happen. I started the year with a little bit of stress from last year. And it was also the time when I was asking God, who am I? What am I becoming? What do you want me to be doing in this season? And I think the first lesson that I have taken away from this year is whatever it is you're praying about, be very sure that you really want the answer from God, because I have a feeling that if I hadn't started praying out, I'd just continued with my life the way it was, and maybe it would have turned out well. But the moment I started to ask God and say, hey, Lord, this is how I'm feeling in this moment with my business. What do you want me to do? A lot of things started to come out. And among those things was the fact that I started to feel discontent with the direction my business was going in. And if you have been following me for a little bit, in July, I actually shut down one of my most profitable programs in my coaching business. And that was a huge blow, actually, because we still need to pay our bills. We still need to do a lot of things. And then me shutting down that business, that stream for even 90 days was not a joke, right? But I did it. And even though I took some clients on when I came back after the 90 days break, I made sure that I wasn't taking on like a full cohort so that I'm sure that I know what I'm doing. So that's the first thing. I think the lesson is whatever it is you ask God, just be prepared for Him to shock you, because sometimes it's not going to be what you expect. And then the second thing is learning obedience. I feel like this is the year that I really, really learned to be more obedient, because I shared at some point the fact that the Holy Spirit was telling me that, look, you need to speak more in your content. You need to share more of your story and just basically be more intentional about using your voice. And I struggled with that one because I kept on wondering, like, what am I going to say when I do turn on the camera? And it's funny because I've been creating content for a long time. And in that time that I've been creating content, I thought I was speaking enough. But it wasn't until I went back to look at my content that I realized that, okay, maybe I haven't been speaking as much as I thought I was speaking, and to become more intentional about speaking. And I had to go out of my comfort zone. Even me turning on the camera every single day to post a video on YouTube has been me stepping outside my comfort zone and just learning to use my voice as an entrepreneur, as a person, and as someone who has a dream to command stages and work with some of the biggest leaders and visionary coaches in the world. So obedience has really been a big thing for me. And I'm not saying that I've gotten it, like I'm perfect at it now. I'm still work in progress. I'm still learning to hear God clearly and be able to follow the instructions that I'm getting. And if you've been following for the past 2 weeks, I've been posting a video on YouTube every single day. Even as I'm saying it, my mind is blown every single day. But that is because I want to make sure that I'm doing exactly what I should be doing. And I've made sure not to put any salesy anything in my content, just so that I first learn to use the voice. I first learn to tell the stories that need to be told before I even start thinking about monetizing it. So obedience has been big. I think the third most important one is that God has been teaching me to trust Him in this season. And like I said, there's some stories I can't share yet because the testimony is not complete. And by the time I share the testimony, I want it to be coming from a place of we overcame rather than we were in the midst of it. But I will say this, that God has taken me and taught me to trust Him for everything, right? And I didn't realize that I was struggling in that area until 2025 because I was used to being self-reliant, a lot of things on relying on myself for. And then this year, when the rug got pulled out from under me, where I felt like, okay, this coaching program, I'm going to shut it down. I then had to look to God and say, God, where am I going to be getting sustenance from? And that has been a lesson in itself. And I think without telling the full story, I do need to say that God always has a plan. In the time that I took the break of that coaching program, I basically gave myself the opportunity to dream again about who I wanted to become and to clarify the work that I want to do that's going to be exciting for me. And I believe very strongly in that scripture that says that God gives us the desires of our hearts, because there were things that came up in just me being dreaming boldly that I know for a fact didn't come from me. I think one of them is the fact that, and I'm going to share this with you because I feel like it's okay too. One of the things that I've been dreaming about for a long time is to host a retreat for business owners and people who just want to dream bigger and do bigger. And when I shut down that program, that is what kept coming to my mind. Like, hey, hello, I'm still here. I'm still that dream you've been pushing down and pushing down. And so many times I've even started to plan the event. I've looked for villas where I would host it and then I would pull back. And I had to confront that dream this year where I'm now like, okay, I think the reason I've been pulling back is I've cocooned myself so much. And now 2025 has allowed me to embrace that dream more, where I'm like, I definitely know I'm going to be hosting a retreat soon. I don't have all the details. I don't know exactly where it's going to be, what country it's going to be. I know it's going to be somewhere gorgeous and beautiful and impactful, but I don't have all the details, and that is completely fine. So 2025 has actually allowed me to trust God and dream bigger. And as I start to sign out from the year, I think I can see where God has carried me all through this year. Like, there have been things that have happened, confirmations have happened. I've come away with better friendships. This year, my friends and I launched a podcast, and in just sharing our opinions, I realized that God has been faithful, and I've had the opportunity to build closer relationships with some people and also to walk away from some relationships that I knew were not serving me. And all of this has happened this year. So I'm sharing this with you, my audience, because I'm doing this 100-day challenge that has been birthed from a place of obedience. And I'm going to continue it into the new year. But I thought it was only sensible and appropriate to sign out this year from a place of, let us take stock of what the year has been. I think one of the biggest blessings this year, so I've shared the three lessons. I think it's time to talk about the blessings. I think the number one blessing, like I mentioned, is deeper relationship with my friends and just connecting on a better level. But the second biggest lesson is, I believe, not taking myself too seriously anymore. Meaning that I'm giving myself more grace to just be human and just be the person who shows up on the internet and doesn't have all the answers, but I do know that I'm highly skilled, highly trained and experienced in a field, and I'm not afraid to share that, but at the same time, not afraid to be a human being and admit that I'm learning. I'm learning to be a better speaker. I'm learning to create content from a place of just being human and sounding more human on camera. I'm learning to become a new version of myself without holding on too tightly to who I was before. And I'm learning to dream bigger. I'm learning to dream bigger. When I close my eyes now, the kind of pictures I see are things that I didn't dare dream about before. And I think one of the blessings also is just learning to, I'm trying to find the word, and learning to connect with God in a space where it's not just about give me, give me, give me. It's about a partnership of who I'm becoming to fulfill the purpose of my life. So I guess I wanted to share all of this with you guys so that you understand that you also have the permission to grow and evolve, and you have the permission to change. And I'm hoping that 2025 has been a year where you can sit down and take stock of the things that have happened in your life and use that as a stepping stone for 2026. And oof, I have such a great feeling about the next year. I'm so excited to see what is going to happen, because in that year, I'm going to have about 90 days of creating content non-stop. 90 days of posting content on the internet without scripting or editing. And I'm terrified, but also in a good way. I'm like, let's see what's going to happen. Who am I going to be at the end of the whole challenge? And I'm learning to embrace my delusions. I'm learning to embrace my delusions where I just allow myself to dream and grow bigger. And if there's anything I wish you guys, it is the ability to dream big and do big. And so this is me signing out from 2025 and happily stepping into 2026, where there are two things I'm promising myself: that I'm going to host that retreat. Even if it is 3 people that show up, I'm going to host the retreat. And then the second thing is I'm going to create with God exactly what I should have. Like, I don't want to do it by myself again. I want to make sure that I'm holding on to God very closely, very strongly, and I'm only building what He permits me to build. And so I'm signing out 2025, and I hope that you have a fantastic end of your year, and I will see you in the new year. Ciao, guys.